on the west side of Cleveland. Get something to drink, use the pate, grab something to eat, and now we're back on the road. Got through Cleveland, came out the other side. I'm zigzagging down the Interstate 80, which is my goal to shoot the rest of the way to New Jersey. And as long as we have daylight, I wanted to film a little more of the road. It's a whole lot better looking piece of highway, too. Have just over a half a tank of gas. So I'm doing good on fuel. Like for a person or two to get back on here. This is, what is this, 442? Oh, I got my one. I got one. Hey, we're back on the road again. I stopped just west of Cleveland. Oh, and they're gone. So this be a tradition. Interesting, I could drive a wall of cars and all of a sudden they disappear. Like all at once. So we're back on the road again. I bailed off west of Cleveland, get something to drink, get something to eat, walk around a little bit. And now we're back on, and I waited until I got through Cleveland and kind of got out in the open, and he's gone. I keep starting over again. Alrighty, got off just west of Cleveland, had to get something to drink, something to eat, walk around a little bit. Now we're back on the road. I made it through Cleveland. We're out in the open, and we are zigzagging cross country to 80. We're going to shoot through Ohio. I think the whole width of Ohio on Interstate 80, which would be nice. But they take good care of this highway. Look how it's all mowed and clean, and there's no trash laying anywhere. This is nice out here. It's late in the afternoon here. The sun's setting behind us, so we're not driving into the sun, so you can see what's going on. But this is, I think, Cleveland, Ohio. So excited. Oh, are you kidding me? Cleveland, the North Coast. As they say on the shirt, boats, bars, and a few weirdos. I actually lived on the outskirts of Cleveland for about 6 months when I was a teenager, so I know what's going on there. But that's behind us. We are eastbound on, I think this is 422. It's taking me to Youngstown, and then I'm going to hit 80, and then that's going to be my ride the rest of the way to New Jersey. Somebody, years ago, I read something talking about how the dinosaurs fell into the tar pits and they died, and that's why New Jersey smells like that. Some story that went along those lines. But again, with your GPS, if you program it, you can tell it, keep me off the toll roads. Of course, the toll roads are always super convenient, but I found some ways to beat them because some of these toll roads are insanely expensive. I tell you, the Toledo to Cleveland is like $30, and it's not that far. So I figure it's worth it to zigzag up and follow the coast road, which I do on a semi-regular basis. But it's nice weather. The rain is behind us. The clouds are behind us. Looks like we got clear skies coming. Hey, cowboy, are you from Cleveland, or are you just laughing about Cleveland? Like I said, I lived in the outskirts there back in 85 for a short period of time. 85, that was 40 years ago. Bleh. The two radio stations were WMMS and something else. I don't remember what the something else was. Oh, cool. Check it out. Lake. Look at that. I got gas for a little under $3 a gallon there north of Detroit with my discount and everything. And now I'm heading this way, and I don't know what the gas prices are going to do. I don't know what I'm up against at this point. We're going to find out. I still got, like I said, I got over a half tank. Currently getting, where'd it go? 22.8 miles per gallon, not complaining. And we're going back to 190. Like I said, I think this is going to Youngstown. This is 422. It goes to Youngstown. I think we drive around the little mini loop, hit 80, and then it's going to be smooth sailing. Coming up on a red light here. It's like, we're still in Ohio. Whoa, red light. I'm pretty certain. Pretty certain. And we're going to get over the border here pretty soon. But we got 19 more miles of whatever this garbage is. Award-winning restaurant. Yeah, sure it is. So this is the price you pay when you go cross country. Sometimes you got to go a little slow for a minute. But 19 miles on this around Youngstown on the I-80, and that's pretty much a straight shot across the state, which should look pretty nice. This right here is country, small town America. No trash on the ground. Well, a little bit of trash on the ground. They keep the lawns mowed. Lots of trees. You see these overhanging the road here. There's areas I've been through. I have a CB antenna. It's 3 feet tall, and I've been through some areas where my antenna starts slapping the trees when we go by. It's kind of my tester to see how deep it is. I have something on my Expediting playlist, so something that has the word goat in it, like goat trail, or I went 25 miles in the dark I'm following the GPS. I went down a dirt road, and I am rubbing the bushes on both sides of the van, and the antenna is slapping the trees over the van in the dark, and it's foggy. It was like the creepiest place you would ever want to go. And had I met a vehicle going the other way, I would have been in a world of hurt because you couldn't have gotten past this van on foot. It was so tight in there. I didn't realize this was a 2-lane road. Sorry. Let me check in our mailbox. Oh, this blows. I thought we were going to stay up at speed here. See the woods over here? Countryside. Yeah, like I said, I apologize for the stop and go. I thought we were going to roll through this area. I'm making I've got a single pallet back here. It's not even knee high with the pallet. And it's an Amazon delivery. And it's kind of weird how Amazon does this. I'm going to one of their centers. And from what I'm being told, there's a big sign on top of the package that says, I got to call this phone number, talk to this very specific person 1 hour before I get there. And then you've got to go through a procedure to get in there. And a lot of drivers won't do Amazon. I don't know why, but they said they just won't do them. So they called us. I was told by one of our dispatchers that I seem to understand the job. So he put it on me, which is cool because it pays really well. But nobody said we're going to be stuck in traffic lights. Hey, Cowboy, like I said, do you live in Cleveland, or are you just making fun of it? I'm curious. They had the stadium. I remember when I was there, the Brown Stadium, which they call the Browns anymore. They changed the name, but their stadium has an open side, and it's right by the lake, and the open side is facing the lake. So in the winter, when you're playing the games, that cold, super humid, icy wind would come in the stadium and just whip around inside of it, come out the other, go right back where it came from. And they couldn't have, I mean, yeah, it's great visibility and a great view, but a horrible idea for people in the stadium. It's like, geez. Because I went there one time with some friends. You know, we're high school kids. We got some cheap tickets and we watched the game, ran around and acted stupid. But good God almighty. I had moved there temporarily from Colorado where it's bone dry. And you don't understand humidity if you've never been around it. You wear all the jackets you want. That stuff just goes through you. Ooh, look at the sign on the side of the road. Check it out. Right there, the yellow warning sign. Look at that. Horse and buggy. This is literally Amish country. And you will see those in traffic. Okay, we're working our way up to a traffic light top of this hill up here. That's what's going on. But if I see a horse and buggy, I will definitely turn the camera that way. There's different. I don't really know the ins and outs, but I the time I spent in New York with the grandparents, there were Amish running around, and they have an interesting view on machinery and owning certain pieces of equipment. And you see them doing horse-drawn buggies all the time. But then here a couple of weeks ago, I was driving in this van and I saw a fairly new John Deere tractor cut across in front of me towing a horse trailer, one of those that'll hold like 4 horses. And as I looked in the back, there were at least 8 people sitting on the floor. And based on their clothes, they were Amish. I look at the driver. He's got the outfit, the kind of the matching outfit. So they were driving a tractor, towing these people in the horse compartment. So they got that going on. And then here about a week ago, there were 3 people riding bikes down the side of the road, and I was looking, they were cheating. They had those bikes that are kind of electric. They got the big fat tires, and they were hauling ass down the side of the road, and they were Amish. So I don't know where they draw the line, but different factions of the Amish do it differently. They've all kind of got their own little levels of whatever you want to call they do. And the reason I had knowledge of them is when my grandfather needed to buy wood or do some repair work with wood, he always bought it off a guy who he only referred to by his first name, which was Eli. He would say, "We got to go talk to Eli." We would buy these big pieces of wood, or rough cut, but he always bought it off him for some reason. That was his guy he would go to. All right. I guess we're in the town of Troy. It was nothing to me, but we're in the town of Troy. 17 miles to go. Whoa, here we go. Turn signal would have been nice. Oh, up to speed. Sort of. 17 miles on this, and then I think we hit the loop here. Every once in a while, you see a mailbox out in front of these houses. And some people get real creative with their mailboxes. They'll make a little gargoyle or a spaceship or something. People have fun with that sometimes. As a kid, somebody used an A-frame fence and made their mailbox look like a cow. And they eventually had to take it down because it was freaking out drivers. They'd be coming along at night and all of a sudden there's a cow, black and white Holstein cow. Looks like it's about to step onto the road. It scared the crap out of too many people. And they were forced to take it down. Oh, here's something. I'm going to go way off topic here. Back in the 1990s, there was this hoopla about some hardcore racist organization called the Christian Identity. And it was supposed to be led by a guy named Pete Peters. I'll tell you why this comes to an end. And they were based out of LaPorte, Colorado, and everybody in LaPorte, Colorado was a member of this church/organization, and everybody was armed to the teeth, and everybody swore on a stack of Bibles they would defend their fearless leader, Pete Peters, to the death. which was weird because I'm from LaPorte, Colorado. Neither I nor anybody else has ever heard of this dude. And I don't even remember being a member of some organization. Whoop, right there, right there. Check it out. Amish people on a tractor. See it? Aha! Caught it on film. In a town of 1,500 people, nobody's ever heard of them or knew who this guy was or knew anything about that organization. Nobody. That was cool. See, they were on a tractor and everybody was riding in the bed of the trailer, which probably isn't legal under normal circumstances, but nobody's going to give them a hard time about it. Ha, that was kind of cool. That said Parkman Township. Never heard of it. I like the road, though. Now, the 14 miles. We're going to go around this guy, possibly. Rolling hills. This is the cross-country part of the program, trying to get to Interstate 80 up here. On cruise control, showing 86 degrees outside, getting 22.7 miles per gallon out of the van, which is decent. Oh, does it stay too late? Yes, it does. But not for, oh, geez, there's a wall of cars up here at the traffic light. Down to 13 miles. This blows. I like everybody has their lawns taken care of. I tell you where we are, but I don't know what town this is. I know we're getting close to getting into Ohio, Pennsylvania. We may have crossed a border, but there's no signs, so I don't know what's going on here. Sometimes these secondary roads have the signs on them. Wow, look at that. An 09 Ford, I think it's called an Ed, $1,300. I'm going to go on a limb and say it's worn completely out. That's cheap. I'm going to guess it's got 300,000 miles on it or more. Yeah, it's got to be completely worn out. Okay. Again, I don't know what state we're in. North Street, Church Street. All right. Getting closer. Sorry about the stop and go. We got a mission going on. I took off just north of Detroit, skirted the toll roads along Lake Erie to Cleveland, stopped, got back in, went through Cleveland, came out the other side. Now we're cutting cross country to I-80, and we're going to cross the width of Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania. And we're going to go to Cranberry, New Jersey. And other than passing through New Jersey to go to Lower Manhattan Island, turn around, leave the next day to play Cannonball, I have never been to New Jersey. And I don't even know what part of the state Cranberry is in. But 80 seems to get us pretty close to it, so I'll figure it out when I get there. As we slowly roll forward. Ugh. Mileage 22.7. I honestly did not realize this was going to be stop and go traffic on this road. It looked kind of like a secondary U.S. highway. So this kind of blows. Parkman Township, that's where we are. Parkman. Never heard of it. Keep going. Oh, jeez. No, 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 no. Oh, shit. Everybody's doing that. Go. You can do it. You can do it. You can. No, you can't. Apparently that was too much to ask. Okay, never mind. Let's look through another light. Crap. Sorry. I was gonna have one killer traffic. Ah, check this out. Look at this old building right here. That's the kind of place you buy and you restore and you make really fancy apartments out of it or something, or rent it out, rent out condos, or I don't know, even move into it. That'd have been cool. Alrighty. Again, I apologize. I didn't realize we were going to get kicked by traffic lights like this. I called my buddy Josh. He lives in New York. He's a musician. And I met him a few years ago when I was doing my Cannonball thing. And he actually, the first time I ever set eyes on him was at the Red Ball at the at the Red Ball Garage in New York. He was my spotter to get out of the city for my Cannonball. Please don't be turning. Please don't be turning. You're turning. Oh, that's magical right there. That's magical. Wow. Anyway, uh, he was my spotter to get out of New York City because he knows the area. And he rented a Nissan Altima, and I was in a rented Bug to do my Cannonball. And he was going to run me 100 miles out of the city and be like a blocker for me. And we took off out of the Red Ball, went through the Lincoln Tunnel, got there in like 7 minutes, which has got from the 142 East 31st Street to the Lincoln Tunnels, 10, 12, 15 minutes, it depends. We got there in like 7 minutes. And then went out the tunnel, and he was gonna spot for me, and all I was doing was trying to catch him. And he taught me a driving tactic that I was not familiar with. When you look at space between cars, you look bumper to bumper. He also goes door handle to door handle. So I'm not even trying to race. I'm just trying to catch him. And the time that I caught him was at the 100-mile mark when he was getting off the highway to tell me, okay, you got it from here. And that's the only time I got with him. And I was proud of myself. And he was on the exit ramp, and I was like at CB radio, so we had our own little, I think we were on channel 35. He said, all right, you're on your own. And from there, wide open, Cannonball. And I caught a tremendous amount of traffic on that drive. And about 10 miles after he got off, the highway opened up. And a Volkswagen Bug will do 130 miles an hour. But unfortunately, the rental car I had a governor on it. And it will only go 115. Well, I got it up to 115 and left it there for quite a while after that. And started making up for time, getting caught in traffic and stuff. All right, here we go. We're doing a little coasting here. I know you're not supposed to coast. Okay, it shows 11 miles to our turnoff. If anybody's interested, this is Highway 422 southeast of Cleveland. I'm going to say 30, 40 miles. And we are working our way to Youngstown, to Interstate 80, to head east into Pennsylvania. It's Pennsylvania, but I always say Pennsylvania. Into Pennsylvania from here. Cute community, clean, manicured. Let me take a peek here. Woods, nice lawns. This is a beautiful area. I'm going to go a ways into Pennsylvania. See, I did it right that time. I'm going to go a ways into Pennsylvania, then I'm going to stop and fuel up, but I'm also going to jump in the shower. I'm going to get cleaned up. The last time I jumped in, I didn't have the opportunity to shave, so I'm starting to look a little scruffy around the edges. Kind of that ZZ Top Bigfoot look. It's, anything. Cool, cool. Anybody got a question about the plan here? This is about expediting, but it's also about driving across the United States. There's another one of those yellow signs. See the buggy crossing right there? Uh, a lot of people tune in here just to see the scenery. I've had probably the most vocal people was a guy named Mohammed who tuned in from Ethiopia. He liked seeing all the trees and the forest. And a young guy from India was here, and he was taken aback at how wide open the roads were and how well paved they were. And I thought that was kind of cool. So a lot of people tune in just to see the scenery of this. 8.5 miles to our next turn. Oh, is that the sign? Is that my sign? No. Southingham Township limit doesn't say state line. Oh, yeah, Youngstown is my next turn. Youngstown, Ohio. Duh. Okay, yeah, we're still in Ohio here for a little ways. Another, I like how they do these big yards and mow them, make them look nice like that. Well, that's a lot of mowing right there, buddy. A lot of mowing. Wow. That's you'll see it here this coming weekend. I'll film the family farm. You'll see how much real estate they have. And not only does my cousin and his wife have a fancy riding lawnmower, they have two of them. That's how serious a lawn mowing is for them. It's like acres and acres and acres, and they keep pushing further, further, and getting more of it. That's making it a bigger cut. Oh wow, this is nice. Do do. If at any point this stream stops, it sometimes comes back in a second, sometimes it comes back in 3 minutes. So if at any point this cuts out, I'll let it sort itself out. So far, it hasn't done anything negative. Just letting you know. I have been, oh, man, I have been on this part of the country in the fall time. And during the fall, the colors around here for a very short period of time are absolutely stunning. The trees turn a bronze. You can get rust brown, bronze, burnt orange, and burnt yellow colored leaves. It's a lot of fun to look at. Ooh, here we go. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Ooh, lucky. He was thinking about pulling out from me. Side note, it said 10 miles to Warren. My mother is actually from Warren, Pennsylvania. So, that place is weird. Do you think? Alrighty. There's all this hoopla on the news about plastic bottles. And they sit in your car and they weep chemicals and bad stuff, and we're all going to be dead in a week. I bought a Pilot Flying J app. Will give you coupons and freebies and all kinds of weird stuff. And I got these two big 25-ounce aluminum water bottles with some whatever they had water had in it, and it was buy one get one. So I have that, and now I fill these with water at the rest areas, and I just drink out of these. Real thick aluminum. So it's not like a pop can that's going to crush if you look at it cross-eyed. So those are my two official drinking containers going forward. Right, back up. Just under 5 miles to go to the big turn. And we're going to hit a loop. Yeah, a loop around Youngstown. It's going to be 582. Boom. 80. And then we're in business. Then we can be done with the traffic lights. Our family farm is, if you look at a map, hey, somebody on the front porch. If you look at the map of New York and go as far west as you possibly can along Lake Erie, as you're just about to step over the line into Pennsylvania, the last town, that's where the family farm is located. And that's where I'm going to be Thursday. And then Friday, I have to drive to the Pittsburgh airport, pick her up. It was either going to be Pittsburgh or Buffalo. And I got a more convenient time and better price ticket to go to Pittsburgh. And I have never set foot in Pittsburgh, so this will be an adventure of its own. Thank God for GPS. Two, two, 3.7 miles to go. Ooh. This wood pile, the flowers, little houses. This guy's whole front yard up here is a string of flower pots. Look at this, right there. All that. Wow. We're having fun with it. Alrighty. Sometimes I have a big week driving, and sometimes I have a slow week. The way they pay you here, I'm going to guess this is semi-standardized. Everything's photographs and paperwork on the app. You mail it in, and everything's submitted by midnight on Sunday. Goes on your Friday check. So I had a pretty decent week last week, and then because my Monday delivery was 3 o'clock in the morning, that started towards this week. So I started the day before the sun came up on Monday with my first completed load, and this tomorrow morning will be my second, and these combined puts me in a comfortable area, comfortable price tag. So hopefully I'll get a load to go back to the west at least a little bit. What's he going to do? Yep. I'm hoping I get a something, anything going back to the west. Sorry, dude. This guy pulled out in front of me. I got to go back. Don't get mad. So that was kind of a cool deal to get that Monday and then this one for Wednesday. I didn't get a load yesterday. I was number 8 in the order of battle of our company vehicles in that area. In the Toledo, Detroit area is the hottest place for cargo for our company. So that I was right in the middle. So when I drop my load, I get back on the board and it shows you where you are. There was 8 vans and I'm number 8 because I just got there, and I watched the numbers go down, down, down. Boom. Yesterday afternoon, I was number 1 in the pole position. I was like excited. Okay, here we go. We're going to get something. Nope. Nothing. Great. Then this morning, I was offered what we call a trash load or a turd load. And it's the first load I've ever turned down. It was just wasn't worth the effort. Wasn't worth the money. And then this one came along, and this one's perfect. This is getting me out west out east where I need it to be. So I'm quite happy about this. And the added benefit, I get to go to New Jersey. Well, I've never been there before. Anybody watching? Where's everybody from? I always ask that question. Excuse me. I was curious because I've had people from all around the world. South Africa, had a guy from Norway. Had a woman from the town of Alert, Canada. That is as far north as you can go in Canada and still be on soil. It's actually north of Greenland. It's a military / weather base out in the middle of absolutely nowhere on the coast up there. And I thought that was kind of cool that somebody from way up there took the time to dial in. Probably wanted to see something green, something different. This is the first of two more, and then the 80 comes up. Shows 11 miles on this. If we don't have traffic lights. This is the outside loop of Youngstown. Mild traffic, I like it. These bridges are supposed to have a height rating so you know how tall it is for a truck. And notice there's nothing on this one. That's not a good idea. For those of you that are new here, not from the United States, I want you to look on the edge, this white line next to us. You see the little gap and you see that that dark line? They have a tractor that drives down the side of the road and it makes a dent. So if you drive out of lane, you can hear this. I don't know if you can hear that, but it makes a racket and it shakes the tires and shakes the steering wheel. It makes a bunch of noise. It's just little divots. Somebody invented that for people that aren't paying attention or fall asleep behind the wheel or whatever, and wake you up out of a dead sleep. It's loud. Packard National Museum, as in Packard cars. We've been out of business forever. Oh, Ricky. Come on, I know there's people watching. Where are you from? Where's everybody from in the world? I'm curious. Type something in there. I don't know. Make something up. Give me something interesting to look at. Stop. Stop again. My radio keeps squelching for no reason. Uh, yes, I have a CV. No, it does make a lot of noise. There's not a lot of CV traffic these days. Unless something happens, and then we got all kinds of CV traffic. We have flashing lights coming up. It's kind of an etiquette, if you can, in this country, to move over if you see somebody with lights on. I think that's the ice cream truck. It's my story. I'm telling it. Life. Yeah, in the fall time, these trees get really, really colorful. I like that. So I'm going to meet the boss lady, the wife, and we're going to go kick back for a few days and enjoy the farm area and the local cuisine. And there's a beach there, which I don't know we're going to do anything with the beach. Well, I'll take her to the beach and show it to her. Water's a little cold for my liking. I've told this story on here before, but my grandfather's from this area right on Lake Erie. And during Prohibition, everybody was making money off moonshine and bootlegging and whatnot. And at the age of 14, 15 years old, my grandfather's job was to go steal, quote unquote, steal a truck and there was a farmer that had a 1 ton or a 3/4 ton truck. It's one of those flatbeds that has the wooden rails you can pull on and off the side. He had one that was always by his barn, and he always backed it in, and it was always full of gas. And back then, you didn't have a key. You didn't start a vehicle with a key. There was just a lever. You just get in and understand the sequence of events. The time you turn the lever, start the vehicle. Well, my grandfather's job was to go steal the truck, and he would pin $50 in cash to the tree next to the truck. Meanwhile, the family's in the house having dinner. Grandpa would, quote, steal the truck, and he would drive it down to the coastline on the New York side of Lake Erie. And on the beach, you could back, the beaches are rocky, they're not real sandy. And he would back the truck down to the beach and make a fire, make like a bonfire on the beach. And he would just sit there and throw logs in the fire. And 30 miles away to the north is Canada. So while he was sitting there throwing logs in the fire, a boat would pull up out of nowhere. It stopped. And the guys would pile out of the boat, and they'd hand him whatever they were paying him, and he would walk home. And the guys would unload cases of whiskey, throw it on the truck, and drive it into Buffalo. And then the next day, they would abandon the truck, and then the owner would be mad and have to come pick it up and then bring it home. And then a week later, my grandfather would go steal the exact same truck that was backed up to the exact same barn with a full tank of gas. Rinse, repeat. He goes, oh, they got the truck, and occasionally they recovered a load, but they never arrested anybody, ever. That's how my grandfather fed the family, because his dad, my great-grandfather, died when he was 15. So my grandpa was in charge of the house, but he told me that story once, and I got a kick out of it. And something my grandmother told me, they didn't know each other at the time, but during Prohibition, everybody knew where the moonshiners were. All the locals knew where you could go and buy alcohol. And Grandma had a Model T, and those vehicles were made out of like solid steel. They weren't like cars today. And it didn't have a back seat, but it had a little tiny, kind of like a compartment behind you that was exposed. And there was like a kind of sort of a piece of carpet. I'm not sure what it was made out of, but she said that when you go to buy booze, you want to make sure it was pure. It wasn't cut with water mixed in. So you would flip up the carpet in the back on the driver's side. You flip it up, put a couple of drops on the metal, and light it. And if it burned clean, and we're back. Yeah, I told you it was going to drop, but it just dropped. So my grandmother says you pull up and you flip up that carpet, you put a couple drops of that alcohol, light it. Does it burn clean? It's good. If it doesn't, you would buy it from the guy. So they knew people were going to test it. So I'm working at the shop, and a Model T unrestored comes in there. And I tell him that story, and we flip up the carpet. There's a rust spot. That's the only rust on the entire car. Just a coincidence, of course. Oh, my glasses. Oh, there we go. Get back on there. There we go. Sorry, my glasses rolled off the seat over here, and I had to cover them. But I got a kick out of that my grandmother, grandmas are pure and innocent. Never did anything wrong, like my mother. My mother's favorite song, why can't they be like we were, perfect in every way? Hey, what's the matter with kids today? All right. I take it you're hearing that. That's my noisemaker. East. Okay. South. Like I said, we got to make one more turn, and then we're going to turn on to 80 up here. And again, we're getting a little out in the country here, so if this feed drops, unless it doesn't come back, which usually it does, just stand by a minute. Seriously? There's a traffic light on here? Bigger. There's a traffic light. Huh, who knew? Get back over. Just got to make the turn up here. Sorry. Sorry, dude. Sorry. They like their freaking traffic lights, don't they? Like I said, we'll get on 80 and this will all stop. 22.7. Two. Waiting for the sign, the cross and the border sign up here. So I got people on here, but nobody's telling me where they're from. I'm not offended. No siree. These guys are really going. Youngstown south. And one more turn. One more turn. Oof. Okay. South Youngstown. Orange off. Over. Yeah, I know you're in a hurry. Yeah, I know. I'm out here to get in your way. It's like 5 miles. We do a little whoop-de-doo, and I think we're on 80 at that point. Finally. Yeah, that's what my friend Jeff would call woolly booger country. You get in there and you take one step into those bushes and you're gone. It's just really thick underbrush. I grew up in Colorado. We used to ride dirt bikes, off-road motorcycles to the woods. You couldn't do that here if you had to. Again, there's no marking on this bridge. It's supposed to tell you the height. So when you bring a truck down here carrying something big, you don't smash into it. Currently southbound, we're showing 4 miles to, what does that say? Well, Liberty Township, which is right next to Youngstown. We're going to do a 270 to the right, and then we'll be shooting over there towards Pennsylvania. And hopefully we will be away from the traffic lights for the rest of the trip until we get to New Jersey. Oh. For anybody coming in late, we're doing a run from just north of Detroit to Cranberry, New Jersey. This is for Amazon. It's a little different how Amazon does things. It's different to the point that a lot of people don't want to do runs for them. Kind of make it complicated. I have one very short pallet in the back that somehow weighs 750 pounds. And it's not even knee high, including the pallet. What's in it? Couldn't tell you. I don't ask that many questions, to be honest with you. All they tell me is the dimensions and the weight, and outside of that, the paperwork, it's all in code. But it's something made of metal, little boxes full of metal thingies. I know. Yep, right there. Sorry. Didn't realize that was down there reflecting. 1.7. If you plan on getting into expediting here in the United States, just remember you want to get the app on your phone from Pilot Flying J. There were two companies that merged. The number two reasons, basically two big reasons you want that app. One, you get 10-cent discount on fuel. And two, you build up shower credits. And the reason I recommend them is, to my knowledge, they are the only people that give you credit for gasoline purchases. Other truck stops give you credit for showers, but only for diesel. Well, I'm running diesel. I don't know of a lot of dudes running diesel vans out here. There are some, but not many. So that's the thing, is you're going to get your credits, and it gives you some place to stay at night, because you can put it in, you can click on the app, it'll show you on the map where they are, and you can navigate to it and spend the night in the parking lot, and they leave you alone. It's Youngstown, south. 46 Alpha is return. 46 Alpha is return. New York City. Hey Mo, hey Larry, look. There we go. Oh, trying to reel in the horsepower here. Reel it in. On a side note, I always stop for turtles. If I see a turtle, you will see me pulling off the side of the road and backing up and getting it out of the road. I like turtles. Turtles are my buddies. Oh, wow. Okay, the next turn off this road is 347 miles. That's a hike. Get back into lane of traffic. All righty. Finally, on I-80, and managed to dodge all the toll roads getting down here. That little wall right there on your right, that's going to be a sound barrier. There's going to be houses on the other side of that, and they build those up because sound waves bounce and go up, and it doesn't annoy the people in the neighborhood. There is a restaurant chain in the United States called Denny's, and there is a hotel chain called La Quinta, and for some reason they're always together more times than not. So the going joke was, La Quinta is Spanish for next to Denny's. But anybody would ask that question. Okay, why we're being stifled right now in traffic is up ahead. There is what appears to be an oversized load, because I saw the flashing lights, and people are having to work their way around it one at a time. New York City, 396 miles. Wow. 22.7 miles per gallon. Even though we're only doing 62 and a 65, we are creeping up on that oversized load right now. Yeah, out west the speed limits are 75, 80, and they like 65 here. It's a Pennsylvania thing. Truck. And usually when I get up in the morning and I'm just sitting someplace, I toss my solar panels outside and I got some long cords I plug in my phone, my little secondary battery, my big battery, my earbuds, my headset, my other fans. I plug everything in to the solar panels and just start charging. The problem is this morning it was pouring down rain, and when it wasn't raining, it was heavy overcast, and it wasn't enough to stimulate the panel. So I ended up going into the pilot, and they have like a lounge area, and I sat down this morning and plugged in, had all my stuff in there charging all at the same time. It didn't take long when the phone started ringing for loads, but I got to have all my stuff usable. And then when I'm going down a road like this, I can plug everything in. The 12 volts a little slower, but I can plug it in and charge going down the road. You're just sitting there. It's not happening. See, mile 233. And there's got to be a state line coming up here eventually. We're continuing to creep up on it. He's got New Jersey tags, that van. Whoa, 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 whoa. What was that all about? Get in your lane, dude. Wow. That guy's going to meet me up here. You pass, you stop. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Stay on your side of the line. You're lucky. Ooh, almost got my mother after you. Waiting for the car behind. I was waiting for the car behind the truck to jump out from behind it there. Well, somebody's hot micing. Yeah, someone's hot micing. That's why I can't squelch my radio. I mean, somebody's pulling the trigger and is transmitting, and they don't realize it. They're not talking; they're just sitting on the button. In aviation, when you're flying around an area, there's a common frequency. It's like a little plane pilot comes in and they're flying with somebody. They pull the trigger and they make a transmission. They let go and the trigger sticks. And then you hear the pilot and the person sitting next to him in the plane having a conversation, talking about whatever. And it may go on for 5 seconds. It may go on for 5 minutes. It just depends on how long it takes for the trigger to unstick. And usually what happens is somebody will start once the frequency is clear, because only one person can talk on a frequency at a time. Somebody will pull the trigger and repeat what they were saying and then let it go, and then they'll make another radio call. It'll stick again, and then they'll be discussing amongst themselves how somebody was saying the exact same thing they were saying, and they don't click. They got a hot mic. And it's kind of funny to listen to the confusion as you eavesdrop on two people in their other plane talking, going, okay, sounded like what we were saying. Yeah, there's this old saying in aviation that's, think about what you want to say and pull the trigger on the radio. Oh, here we are. Don't pull the trigger and figure out what you're going to say. Hold on. There we go. We honked. Right. And amongst pilots, they say, what's your longest They say 11 seconds. Okay, let's hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain speaking, and well, 5,000 feet, something to that effect. I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard a pilot pull the radio trigger and go, and then suddenly start talking, or sometimes I just say, and let it go, and then everybody just piles on to make fun of them. I'm going to whip in here for a couple of seconds. I got to jump out. Nature calls. I'm going to let this run. I'm going to shut the van off. I'm going to let this run so you got to all take a break, but I will be back. I don't want to lose the feed. It's up and running. This is a rest area / welcome center, and my completely normal mother, that was sarcasm, my completely normal mother collects road maps. She likes having them, so when I get to a place like this, I have a tendency to run in and grab old mom a road map. So let me pull in here, and I will be right back. Hold my calls. No wild parties. Ha! Success. Sometimes they have road maps, sometimes they don't. This welcome center closes at 5:30. I walked up at 5:29 and a half, and they closed the doors. Communists. But somebody found, over by the bathroom side, they found a display of maps, so that worked out. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Nobody coming. That whirling, screaming sound you hear is the supercharger engaging as we accelerate. Again, my story, I'm telling it. So we're going to go quite a distance down this road before we have to turn again. This will be your tour of Pennsylvania. So we are officially in Pennsylvania. I haven't been here in a few months. He's going to speed up. Got your flashers on. I guess they're calling this a construction zone. Okay. Again, woolly booger country. Oh, what's this? Eastbound. Hey there, eastbound, coming down the bottom of that hill past the rest area. There's a highway patrol in the median with his lights on for some reason. Just look out. Construction's on. All right. Doing my part. Why he's advertising his presence like that, but he was. Traditionally, they wasn't running radar at the time, but when they do run radar, they don't do it looking into the sun. They always do it with the sun behind them. Just something to think about if you're ever traveling at ludicrous speed. Oh, I thought that was a detour. Whoops. It is not. Anybody interested in CB radios? They changed the rules the last few years. And people used to boost. You could buy a radio with wattage to go to outer space, but now new radios that are built are 4 watts, which isn't much. I mean, no one's going to come test it, but they don't buy off the shelf beyond 4 watts. So if you want to boost it, you're going to have to get it done on your own. And the question of what is the range on a CB? That's kind of a variable depending on your mount and where it is. Is it a fiberglass? Is it a window mount? Is it hard mounted or magnetic? And magnetic mounts use your entire car as a grounding plane. Grounding plane. And if you stick it on your trunk lid of your certain amount of range, you put it up on your roof. It's slightly higher up as a bigger ground underneath, if that makes sense. But generally speaking, the range on a CB radio is 1 mile per foot of antenna. So that's why people have, sometimes you see taller antennas. I got a 36-inch. But generally speaking, 1 foot per mile. So when these people buy a CB with a little 24-inch antenna, which works if you're driving around inside of a yard where you're moving a lot of vehicles, that's great. But you get out here on the road, you really can't hear or transmit. People they don't know this. They get 10, 20 miles away and they try to call somebody and they don't hear them. Well, of course they don't hear them. You don't have enough power to boost, and they don't have enough power to send it back. So they have limitations. And there are people that will tell you the CB radio is dead. Heck that guy is. There are numerous companies that are still producing them and selling them, and if they weren't selling them, they wouldn't be producing them. Hold on 1 second. I got to shrink this. I got to restart my tracking device, so hold on 1 second here. I'm back. Sorry, had to bail off. My company keeps an eye on me, and apparently I have to refresh my tracking device. Apologize for that. Whoa, heard that. Let me try to reboot something here. I think my stream is screwing up. Nope, there we go. Looks a little better. All right. Pennsylvania is a beautiful state. It's fairly large, very green, good for deer hunting, a lot of lakes, a lot of farmland. It's a swing state. Their politics bounce around a little bit. They do oil and gas in certain areas. It's got a good climate. Technically speaking, it's not a state. It's considered a commonwealth. Literally the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The legal definition of a commonwealth is a little bit of a gray area to me. I'm not sure what it means, but if you look at their flag, it says the Commonwealth of. It actually doesn't say, even though you can go to Penn State University. You'll notice the highway is split. Where normally there's a grass strip between us and them. Now it's got trees. And it makes it fun to drive through here at night. It's nice and dark. There's nothing to distract you. Of course, deer could pop out, eat you alive, but got somebody coming up on me pretty hard here. Hold on. I enjoy driving through here late at night because these Ford Transits have big old bucket headlights. The high beams are really nice to use. Why are you standing on your brakes? On a hill coming up. This on the GPS coming up. It says East Lackawannock Township. Lackawannock. As opposed to West Lackawannock. Mile marker 10, eastbound I-80 in Pennsylvania, excuse me. That's what my cousin calls the golden hour, the hour after, up to 1 hour after sunrise and 1 hour before sunset when the lighting is perfect for photography. That's where we're at right now. I wonder if my guy Mohammed from Ethiopia, what he would think of this right now. For some reason, the comments section on this stream disappeared, and I don't know how to make it come back. I apologize. And I love the scenery around here. Lady, like I said, one of these days I'm going to figure out the technology of making my phone play music while driving. Right now, if I did it, as soon as the music starts, the stream goes out, or the stream cuts the music out. I don't really understand how it works. Still holding 22.7 miles per gallon. That car right there's got Nebraska license plates. You don't see a lot of those. Okay, we're getting pinched off here. This guy in the yellow truck went for the pass and couldn't do it. Oh, sure. So I got parents are back home. My mother and my stepfather. And my stepfather's son, I guess he's my brother-in-law, step-brother-in-law, brother-in-law. He came to visit. He's a computer guy and was having some neck problems, and I sent him to the chiropractor that I use near home. There's a handful of chiropractors in the office, and I told him specifically which one to use. This really tall, thin guy. Because some of the girls who work there, when they go for the bounce or they go for the twist, they simply don't have enough horsepower. You know, when you weigh a buck and a quarter, you don't have enough weight to make things happen. So this guy can. And I said, make sure you get him. And he gave him a really good adjustment and got a crunch out of his neck. It was like monstrous. He's feeling 1,000% better right now after they got that straightened out. And he was going to go for this one adjustment call today. Well, he enjoyed the experience so much, he's actually going back again on Thursday to make sure. You know, sometimes when you crunch yourself, and your body will sometimes try to slip back into the position it was in, so you got to hit it a second time. He's going back for the second time. And if anyone here has ever dealt with Chiropractic. You can look this up on YouTube. It's a place in Dallas, and they call it the Ring Dinger doorbell. And ring. If you look up his page, basically people come in with just totally messed up backs, and he lays them on their back, and he's got a piece of equipment that reaches up and locks up as you're laying on your back. It locks above your hips. It's kind of tight, and he wraps a towel around their neck and gets it kind of tight. Then he holds the towel on the left or the right, and he says, "Make your belly into jelly," and he pulls, and it sounds like a chainsaw, and it goes from their brain to their butthole. You can hear it go rip. You can literally hear it on the microphone, and you watch their facial expressions. These are people that have had issues for decades sometimes. And they show them walking around in his office, and they're all bent, twisted, and they can't sit. And then he lays them on their back and gives them the old 1-2, and they get up, and all of a sudden they can walk totally normal. And a lot of times it's a very emotional experience, but it will pop their back from top to bottom with one big ripping sound. Sometimes they cry out. Sometimes they kind of panic a little bit because it's so deep and so intense. But it's called the Ring Dinger. Feel free to look those videos up. Just satisfying to hear. It makes, I'm just watching it. I don't know this person, but it makes me feel better when they get that sound, that tearing, that rip sound out of their back. Beautiful sunshine. Ooh, there is Highway 79, which I'm going to be on here in a couple days. Pittsburgh, Erie. That's the direction I got to go. Flash him. This is absolutely perfect weather. It's 88 degrees outside. Back there at the rest area, I jumped out. Didn't seem hot, didn't seem warm. There's some big highway signs for you right there. Didn't feel humid. It was actually quite comfortable. But if you're just coming in, we're on I-80 in Pennsylvania. We just crossed the border eastbound. Doing a run, started after lunch today. Or it was after lunch. It started out north of Detroit, Michigan. Drop it off tomorrow morning in Cranberry, New Jersey. A single pallet, not very large, but incredibly heavy for its size, 750 pounds, and the whole pallet, with the pallet under it, doesn't come up to my knee. So it's just little boxes of something very dense and very heavy. We're gonna. It's an Amazon contract thing, which is gonna be a little weird, and they only accept cargo between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. So I'll be there first thing in the morning, and hoping my dispatch can get me something, anything moseying back to the east, correction, west, because I got to go that way anyway. I'm going to be at the cousin's house on Thursday, and midday on Friday, I pick up the wifey crew at the airport in Pittsburgh. You know, who's around? Take some pictures of that. That's kind of a neat place. Reminds me of thing that happened on the news a couple of years ago, and I talked about it on here. And you can look this up. It's referred to as the Black Swamp Find. Some guy in Ohio, they had the old antique home, really large house that had been in the family since before the turn of the last century. It's one of those of the era, the design. It's a big box house, 2-story, and then it has the attic. And it's one of those attics you can get in and walk around in upright. It just goes on for days. Well, it passed through a series of family owners, and the aunt was the last one living there. His aunt was in her 90s and she died. They didn't really want the house, so they're going to sell it. So they started taking emptying the house out to put it on the market. And they got up in the attic. You start pulling, the old stuff out of the attic, and it was the traditional and cliched last box in the corner. Last box in the corner was a meat box made out of had wax paper on it, and the grandfather or the great grandfather of the guy that now owned the house had a meat market. This box was from that meat market that was shut down sometime in the 1920s. For whatever reason, it went out of business. And they opened up this box, and in it were wads of wax paper, and inside the wax paper was baseball cards. Now, you can't just roll out of bed. If you want to produce baseball cards, you just don't get to wake up one day and decide you're going to print baseball cards. There's licensing, and there's a legal process to it. And the brand of baseball card was called like E85, and it's a registered number, but they can't find any records as to the name of the company. We're back. Sorry, dropped off there for a second. In this box were stacks of uncirculated E85 cards, or E89, whatever the heck it was called, including Ty Cobb rookie cards. They were a different design than the newer cards. And the guy went through these stacks, and he said, "Oh, these are probably worth something." And he took them out, and he went to one of those baseball card collecting places, set the box down. He said, "Are these worth anything?" And the guy went through the box, looked at some of the cards, looked at the guy, and looked at the box, went through some more stuff, and looked at the guy. And when he was done, he finally said, "Are you messing with me right now?" I don't think that's a word he used. He said, "Are you messing with me right now?" And he goes, "No." The Black Swamp Find. Any one of the cards in that box were worth like $600,000. An uncirculated Ty Cobb E85 card is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he's got, I don't know, 27 of them, plus all the other players and people that he had in there, stacks and stacks and stacks. So they slowly let those out onto the market, and they made sure everybody in the extended family benefited from that. It was just millions and millions and millions of dollars in baseball cards, and it's appear out of nowhere. But look that up. You can Google it. The Black Swamp Find is what they referred to it as. I have no idea why. But the cards are kind of smaller. They've been out of the market a little bit. They seal up to protect them. But not only do they exist, but the fact that they're uncirculating. That makes you wonder what else is out there floating around in the world. Collectibles. Which brings us back to the farm. We have a 1979 Thunderbird with a 351 Windsor, which was an oddball engine for that car. If anybody's looking for a car, my uncle bought it in 79. It's got 73,000 miles on it. For reasons I don't know, he put it in the barn, and it's been sitting there since 1994. And my uncle passed in 23. I have no idea why he parked the car, but the car's all there. It's solid. If anybody's looking for a last year of the big Thunderbirds, we got it. I might even make another video. Covered in dust, but it is a barn find. It hasn't been sitting out in the weather thing. Oh, if you're ever out here doing this kind of work, make sure you have a portable air pump, preferably one that runs off 12 volts so you can power yourself. Because I've had to add air to one of my tires because I rotated them when I got the struts done here a month ago. I had to go rotate the tires front to back, and the pressures are different in the tires. And the right front didn't have the proper amount, and I played hell trying to find a gas station, that had an air pump that actually had air in it. A lot of them have a pump, they just don't work right, or they have no pressure whatsoever. So I had to fight to get one. So I have a little air pump at home. I meant to bring it, a freaking bozo, and I forgot it. It's my fault. But I wish I had that. It just walk up to the pump and the hose is completely limp, no pressure whatsoever. Franklin, Oil City. I read about that. Oil City. That's the name of a town here in Pennsylvania. I remember looking at that on a map. 310 miles is my next term, but I don't have that much fuel range. But I'm going to go a distance here. Well, this is beautiful country. Another rest area. We just had a rest area. Yeah, there's a TA Travel Center. That's another truck stop. There's one called Petro, and I hear truck drivers discussing it. I don't know their policies. The only ones I ever messed with was Love's and Pilot Flying J. And like I said, Love's doesn't give you credits for buying car gas, but Pilot Flying J will. If you buy at least 15 gallons of gas at a time, you get a half a shower credit. You can buy a shower, but it costs $15 to $18 to get a shower. And it's a little room with a bath. It has a toilet and a sink and a shower, and they clean it between each person. Literally have a crew of guys, men or women, whatever. And they run in, they clean up, and then you wait in line, you get your little number, and you go in and use it. Tradition: always tip the person who cleans the showers if they do a good job. That's important. That's a thankless job. I always either hand the person $2 or $3, or I just leave it on the counter for them. It's a good etiquette thing to do. It's not necessary, but you appreciate people that do their job well, especially a thankless job like that. Because I can't imagine the employees at a Pilot or a Flying J or a Love's or whatever are lining up to be the shower person. But he's blowing my doors off here. Clarion boy. It's a cattle hauler. That's a clean cattle hauler. That's weird. There are all these limits for CDL drivers, these big trucks, of how long they can drive, how many hours. And there are exceptions, one of which are cattle haulers, because you can't just leave the cattle standing in these boxes out in the heat all day or in the cold all night. You got to get them to their target to get them out. So they get to operate outside those rules. I don't know if they're required to drive in a team or not. I don't really know, but I know that they don't follow those rules. And what my wife used to do, which was driving the bees, uh, the honeybees, to go from orchards and vineyards so they could go out and pollinate. So you stop at the vineyards and you set them down and they just scatter. And they go have their fun. I don't know how it's a day or 2 days or 3 days. I don't know how long they leave them there, but they were there for a period of time. And then they pick them up and take them to the next vineyard or the next farm and let them run around. But you literally rent your bees out. Beautiful terrain. I hope this is coming across the screen, but this is gorgeous through here. Hopefully, I'll get to come back through here in the fall. You can see the colors I was talking about. It's absolutely stunning. But if you also want to see some really nice colors, Google Colorado aspens in the fall and look at the color of those. They get orange, red, and the tree trunk itself is white. You put that with a gray mountain with snow on it, a blue sky above. It looks fake. It's so beautiful, it actually looks fake. But it's real. I've seen it. That truck that just passed us has a 4-foot uh, movable fiberglass antenna on his mirror, and they put one on both mirrors. They stand up. And I asked my uncle, why do you have two antennas? Because he drove truck forever. And his answer, without the slightest hesitation, was, it looks cool. Literally, it looks cool. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Lunatic. Clintonville, 1 mile. It's a borough. Here, stateside, you have counties. Out west, you live in this county or that county. In Louisiana, it's a parish. And in New York, it's a borough. Pennsylvania, probably other places under borough. Borough, parish, and county all mean the same thing. Got a truck coming up on me who's kind of leaving around in his lane, like noticeably. Let's see what this guy's doing. It's like when you have a main road, like the highway, and you'll have a little road next to it running parallel to it. In Colorado, it was called the frontage road. In Texas, they call it a feeder. And in New York, they call it an arterial, like an artery, an arterial road. It's just the difference of terminology. Okay, I hope this guy, the last passed me in a hurry. This truck going by is just kind of having a hard time holding his lane. Keep going. Keep going. Thank you. Watched a YouTube video by a British guy, and he had to explain. He goes, "This is something that the British people cannot wrap their heads around. Americans go on vacation to America." He said, "That is how big and diversified the United States is. That you could travel within the borders and have a completely different cultural experience. Whereas in Europe, you jump borders. You could drive all the way across Western Europe to Eastern Europe and pass through 6 or 7 countries, and you could drive the same distance in Texas, and you'd be all the way in Texas. No, it's just a difference of area. Texas compared to Washington State, compared to Maine, compared to Iowa, compared to Florida, completely different, completely different experience each one. Different people, different culture, different accents, different food, different everything. And he traveled all over the United States, and he finally figured that out. And he was surprised that most Americans don't have a passport, whereas in Europe everybody has a passport. Well, we got ours before we started traveling here. The wife and I finally got our passports. I had my original passport I got when I was 13 years old. Yeah, that was some cool picture there. Let's just say Justin Bieber did not create the Justin Bieber hairdo. I did. I had the wrap around mop going on. Be jealous. 2.7. My feed seems to be slowly losing traction. If I get down into the single digits, I'll go ahead and pull the plug. But for now, I'll let it roll because there's some people I think enjoy seeing this. So, yeah, I imagine it would be dangerous at night because of deer. But as long as you got the big headlights, I think you can see. As long as you're not blinding another driver. That is. Went into a nuclear power plant here a few years ago to pick up and a delivery. I wasn't YouTubing at the time. I wasn't streaming. I just went in, and what I should have done was film the experience. It was in New Jersey, and I pulled. No, it wasn't. It was in Pennsylvania, close to New Jersey. I pull up to the gate, and the guy comes out carrying his M16 because there's so much terrorist activity near his plant. Checks my paperwork, and I drove my van into a big cage, a giant trap, and they told me to grab my ID and go in there. And I got out of the van, and they opened all the doors and brought out the cameras, and they're looking underneath it for, I don't know, Al Qaeda or something. And then I had to go through, can't just walk over to this building. You got to go through this zigzag concertina wire, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, real tall concertina wire. And then I went through a turnstile and went into this room. And there was a guy behind a big bulletproof glass with bars on it and everything. And he needed this paperwork and he needed that. And all this information and blah, 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 blah. And he gave me a badge, like a press badge you had to wear. And then I had to go out a different door through a different turnstile to get back to the van. And they're still searching and running drug dogs over it, blah, blah, blah. Just I'm standing there watching it. Get back in the van, and they open the gate in front of me, and I pull out, and I've got to go between these two waist-high, big, thick concrete barriers. And as I'm getting up to them, these like steel telephone poles come out of the ground and stop me, and then the trap slams shut behind me, and I'm caught in this other exterior trap. And I sit there for a while, and then slowly the telephone poles go back into the ground. They go, yeah, go right there, which is 60 feet later. I pull up to a dock, a truck dock, not a ramp, and a roll door opens, and there's a woman standing there holding a little box, and another woman standing next to her holding an M16. She hands me the box, and then the door slams shut like a guillotine. I turn around, throw the box in the back of the truck, and repeat the entire freaking process to go back out again. It took a little over an hour to go 200 feet into this plant and then 200 feet back out. It was an hour, like an hour and 10 minutes. Turned the badge in and signed back out and checked the van again because I, stole some nuclear product while they were stood there and watched me do it. And there's just one little box, like 20 inches square, no big deal. Put it in the back, put a strap on, didn't weigh anything. I'm taking it to another power plant, another nuke plant. It's like, okay, get in the GPS. I remember someplace going back to the west. I go to this other power plant and I get up on top of the hill and I'm like, okay, here we go again. Nope, there's a guard shack. There's nobody there. I drive past the guard shack. I drive all around the plant, zigzagging between the reactors, the buildings, and then I finally find the loading dock. There's a door wide open. I pull up, grab my box, walk in, walk up to the ramp, which is about, stomach height maybe for me. And I walk up and I go, hey, I gotta deliver it. And the guy's like, oh yeah, cool. And he signs the paperwork, takes the box, and he disappears. And I get back in the van, and I drive off and go back out to the street and leave. I mean, how did we go from this extreme to that 200 miles apart? I might as well be dropping off at Toys R Us for all the security measures they have, and those guys over there are acting like, it's about to kick off. But if I ever go to do that again, I'll probably just let my phone turn it on and let it record just to see what it looks like, because it's funny, the process. I also went. I went to an address in the outskirts, the suburbs of Washington D.C. It was like a really high-end townhouse complex. I'm driving in these beautiful streets, and I'm like, my van's kind of out of place. And I get there, and the address is a private residence, and sitting on the front porch is a box with paperwork and a little rock sitting on it to hold the paperwork down. And it had my company's name on it. I was like, all right, cool, I got it. So I pick it up, but the little tiny, this box was much smaller. And I drove nonstop to Iowa. It was a hike. And it was another nuke plant. And again, I got in there in the middle of the night. And there was a gate with nobody there and a gate wide open. It's on the country. And you pull in, and there's a couple of reactors of buildings, and there's this massive parking lot. And every parking space is marked with a number. And there'd be like a random car. One car here, one car way over there. Oop. Sorry, can't take that. That's my mother. I'll call her back. There's a couple of cars here and there, and I'm driving around. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. There's no real indicator of, but I circle the whole plant. I call my dispatch and I go, hey, I don't know where I'm supposed to deliver this to. And they made some call. They said, oh, take it to the blue building. Well, guess what? Every single building in there is blue. Okay, dude, I'm going. Everything is blue. I said, this isn't helping. So they get back on the phone again, and they call. They call again, and some people come outside, like a door opens and a head pokes out, and a bunch of Bill Gates-esque computer nerds come running out of the building, grab the box, open it up, and cheer like they just made a touchdown, and they run back in the building with the box. What was in it? Couldn't tell you. But they were excited to get it. Dude. I had to speed up back there, and a truck trying to get a run and start up the hill, and he got pinned behind me, so I picked it up a little bit. All right, I got to make a few phone calls here. That was my crazy mother calling. I got to check in with her. I'll catch up with you guys later. I may go on tonight. I'm not certain, but I'll be around later. Take care.